Hi everyone. In the previous video, we have learned that how you can use the aggregate function sum, average, minimum, maximum and count. And I hope you got to know the concept of count as well. It will not calculate the null values, right? Now in this video, we'll try to learn the group by clause, right? Now I'll give you the brief idea about the data set that we have. I hope you are aware about it. That is your EMP table. On the same data set, we'll try to learn the group by clause only, right? So in the EMP table, how many columns do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have total 8 columns, right? Now, why to use group by clause and when to use group by clause, that is a different story. We'll learn that. But before learning the group by clause, I'll just give you an example so that it will be easy for you to learn group by clause. Now, for example, somebody told me that I need to calculate the sum of salary for salesmen. So what will be the query? Select sum of salary from EMP. I can apply a where clause to filter the data. I hope you know we apply the where clause to filter the data. So where job is equals to salesman, right? Now the sum of salary for salesman is 5,600, right? Now somebody tells me that I need to calculate the sum of salary for clerks. So I can run the same query, select sum of salary from EMP table where job is equals to clerk, right? Simply run this query. And the sum of salary for clerk is 4,150, right? Now somebody says me that I need to calculate the sum of salary for managers. So I'll be using the same query, and instead of job is equals to clerk, we'll simply say job is equals to manager, right? Run this query, and this is the sum of salary for all the managers. Specifically for the managers, 8,275. Now you let me know, is this the right way to run the query when you want to calculate the sum of salary for salesmen, for sum of the salary for clerk, for sum of the salary for managers? Now we have to run 3 different queries. But is it possible that we can run a single query and we'll be getting the data, or we'll be getting the desired output? Of course we can get it. So what will be the SQL query? Select, I wanted to see sum of salary job wise, right? I wanted to see sum of salary job wise. So I need to say job, select job, comma, sum of salary from EMP table, and I need to say group by job, right? If you run this query, you will be getting sum of salary job wise. In a single query, I'll be getting my output. So it is a good idea that you can write the group by clause, or you can write the query with a group by clause instead of writing 3 different queries. This is the better way to write a query. So for clerk, we have the sum of salary 4150. For salesman, we have the sum of salary for 5600. For president, we have sum of salary 5000. For manager, we have 8275. And for analyst, we have 6000. This is how you can analyze your data in a better way, right? Now when we have started the aggregate function, we have learned that aggregate function will always return you a single value, right? Now my statement is still true. Aggregate function will always return you a single value. Because you're doing a group by job, this is returning you a single value, but this time for each group. This time it is returning you a single value for each group, right? For clerk, it has created a group and it is calculating the number on this group. For salesman, it is creating a group and it has calculated the number. For president, it has created a group. For manager, it has created a group. And for analyst, it has created a group. And for that group, it is calculating your sum of salary, right? Now, when you want to apply the group by clause, first of all, you need to analyze your table data. You need to analyze your table column. Once you have a proper understanding and friendship with your table column, it will be easy for you to pick and identify on which column I can apply a group by clause. Let me run the query for you to make you understand. Select star from EMP. Now by seeing the output, can you please let me know in the comment section on which column we can apply a group by clause. You can always apply a group by clause wherever you have a repetitive value. Let me repeat this point. This is really important. You can always apply a group by clause on that particular column where you have repetitive values, right? Now you can see that department number, we have a repetitive value. We have multiple department number 10, we have multiple department number 20, and we have multiple department number 30, right? What are the other column where we have the repetitive values? We have a job column where we have the repetitive value. We have 2 analysts, we have multiple clerk, we have multiple managers, we have only 1 president, and we have multiple salesmen. So job column is also one of the column on which you can apply a group by clause, right? Now in the previous query, we have applied a group by clause on job column. Now somebody says me that I want to calculate average of salary job wise. Let me repeat the question. Average salary job wise. So how will you write the SQL query? I can say that select job, comma, average of salary from EMP table, and then you need to say group by job, right? You run the query and job wise, this time you are getting the average salary, right? For clerk group, it has created a group on the clerk, it has created a group on the salesman, it has created a group on president, it has created a group on manager, and it has created a group on analyst. And for each and every group you are getting a single value, right? I hope you got the concept. Now I told you what is the other column on which we can apply a group by clause. We can apply a group by clause on that particular column which contains the repetitive values, right? So department number also we can apply a group by clause. So what can be the question? Question can be that department wise I want to calculate the sum of salary. Department wise I want to calculate the sum of salary. So what can be the query? Select DEPT number, comma, sum of salary from EMP table, group by DEPT number, right? You run the query. Department wise we are calculating the sum of salary, right? So you can see that for department number 10 the query has created one group. For department number 20 the query has created one more group, and for department number 30 the query has created one group. And for department number 10, how much salary that we are spending? 8,750. For department number 20 we are spending 10,875, and for department number 30 we are spending 9,400, right? So what can be the other question? Now the other question can be that we wanted to check department wise minimum salary in each department. What is the minimum salary that we are spending or we are giving, right? So what can be the query? Select DEPT number, comma, minimum of salary from EMP table, of course group by DEPT number. If you observe one thing, whichever column you are having in the select clause, that same column you are having in the group by clause, right? Simply run this. And for each department, what is the minimum salary? For department number 10 the minimum salary is 1,300. For department number 20 the minimum salary is 800, and for department number 30 the minimum salary is 950, right? What can be the other question? Department wise we wanted to check who is earning the maximum. एक ही डिपार्टमेंट में, डिपार्टमेंट नंबर 10 में बहुत सारे एम्प्लॉयज़ काम करते हैं. कौन सी मिनिमम सैलरी है, कौन सी मैक्सिमम सैलरी है, वी कैन चेक इट, राइट? सो दिस टाइम वी वांट टू कैलकुलेट द मैक्सिमम सैलरी. सो द क्वेरी कैन बी सेलेक्ट DPT number, comma, max of salary from EMP, group by DPT number, right? So For each department it will create a group 10, 20, 30, 10 के लिए अलग ग्रुप क्रिएट होगा, 20 के लिए अलग ग्रुप क्रिएट होगा और 30 के लिए एक अलग ग्रुप क्रिएट होगा. And for each group you can see that this is the maximum salary that you can have. 5,000 for 10, 3,000 for 20 and 2,850 for department number 30, right? What can be the other question? There can be multiple questions formed on the concept of group by clause. For each department I wanted to check how many employees are working, right? For each department we want to check number of employees. So how can we write the query? Of course, for this question we need to use count function. We need to use count aggregate function. What can be the query? Select DPT number, comma, count of star from EMP table, group by DPT number, right? So for each department number it will create a group, and on each group it will calculate the count of star. So for department number 10 we have 3 people are working. For department number 20 we have 5 people working, and for department number 30 we have 6 people are working, right? Now what can be the other question? Job wise or designation wise I want to count or I want to calculate how many employees are working, right? So I can say select job, comma, count of star from EMP, group by job, right? So for each designation or for each job it will calculate the count. कितने क्लर्क काम करते हैं हमारे पास? 4. सेल्समैन हमारे पास 4. प्रेसिडेंट ओनली वी हैव 1. मैनेजर वी हैव 3 and analyst we have 2, right? So this is the very interesting concept in SQL, and a lot of people get confused with group by. I'll give you a very layman example and then we'll wrap up the video that how group by work. It simply creates the group for multiple values. Wherever you have repetitive values it will create the group. Now for example, I'll give you one assignment. You can solve and you can try solving this assignment. You need to create one employee table. This is the assignment for all of you. You need to create the employee table. In that employee table you can have this many columns: EMP number, you can have employee name, you can have city, for which city people are working, and you can have salary, what are their salary, you can have department number, right? Now for example, 5 to 6 members are working for Mumbai location, 5 to 6 members are working for Bangalore location, 7 to 8 members are working in Delhi location, and 8 to 10 members are working for Chennai location. You create the employee table along with this many column, and then what you do is insert the data. You can create the insert statement. I hope you know how to create the insert statement for each row. Create the insert statement, insert the data in the table, and then the question is we want to check how many people or how many employees are working for each location. So you have to use the count function on this table, right? And for each location you have to count. Now for example, पुणे के लिए 6 लोग काम करते हैं, दिल्ली के लिए 5 लोग काम करते हैं, चेन्नई के लिए 8 लोग काम करते हैं, और बैंगलोर के लिए 6 लोग काम करते हैं, right? So how this group by clause will work? For example, you are sitting in a classroom. How you create your group? I'm just trying to give you a layman example. How you create a group? दिल्ली वाले अपना अलग ग्रुप बनाते हैं, मुंबई वाले अपना अलग ग्रुप बनाते हैं, कैलकाटा वाले अपना अलग ग्रुप बनाते हैं, और बैंगलोर वाले अपना अलग ग्रुप बनाते हैं. They create a group on the basis of language preferences, right? And in the similar way, your SQL group by clause will create the group on the basis of similar values. Now, if you say group by job, it will create one group for analyst, it will create one group for clerk, it will create one group for manager, and for one for president, even though president में एक ही value है, and then it will create one group for salesman. And on top of that group, it will calculate the sum of salary or average of salary or count or a minimum value or maximum value. I hope you understood the concept of group by clause. Thank you so much for watching.